Welcome to this Wise Women Roundtable. We are so excited to be here with you again today and to look at some of the amazing things happening. And truly, I just feel like this year is already on warp speed or whatever goes past warp speed faster than that. I think there was a Star Trek episode that called it the slipstream that was faster than warp speed. I know there's probably other terms that we could use around that, but it's just been flying by so fast. So here we are having Pluto and has just moved into Aquarius, where it will be until September 1st. We've got the Sun in Aquarius. We've got Mercury moving into Aquarius on February 4th. We've got Venus moving into Aquarius on February 12th. We've got Mars moving into Aquarius on I'm sorry, Mars on February 12th and Venus on February 16th. And then Venus and Mars connect on February 22nd in Aquarius. So although by then the sun will have moved into Pisces, but the whole this whole Aquarian energy is just huge right now. And so it feels like it might be helpful just to speak into that a little bit because this is an energy that is about going beyond what is our known reality. It's a way I heard it described once, and I really like this description, is revolution for evolution. It's not just revolution for the sake of, doing things differently in a new way and that kind of thing, but to do it for an evolutionary purpose that helps support everyone in the planet. And it's about really being free to be who we are, free to be me. A good mantra for that for Aquarius, and not having anything that interferes. So it's not like there's rules of how to be and how you should be and how you should do this and why you should do this, but really being able to tune into what really feels alive and present for each of us at this time. And also it's about expanding our perspective. It's about expanding our vision and and the possibilities of what we could actually experience in this reality, something that has often been referred to as the new earth, coming into the new earth energy. So it feels like it's very powerful right now. And with Pluto in Aquarius shining a light on all of the shadow of Aquarius, that is too much in the mind, or it's too detached, or it doesn't have it's just too much about freedom and not about taking responsibility. But it's also, we could imagine it's about being visionary, and then how do we implement those visions in a way that works? And so that one of the challenges that Aquarius can have is they can be visionary, but they don't know how to get it done. With the Aquarius new moon happening on February 9th, that begins the year of the dragon. Of course, if you're in a different time zone, it'll be happening later in the day. So that'd be February 10th, but whatever day that's happening for you begins the year of the dragon. And it's the year of the wood dragon, and the dragon energy we've been talking about a lot. And when I was waking up this morning, I was thinking about Draco the dragon in the sky. And there are two stars. There's a star Polaris, our North Star. That's the star that doesn't move in the sky. The whole sky turns around that star. And so planets rise and set from east to west, and that star is always in the sky in the northern hemisphere. So for the northern hemisphere, it's our guiding star. And then there's another star called Vega that was the pole star 13,000 years ago, because the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees on its axis, and it's wobbling as it's going around. So, and that wobble takes about 26,000 years for it to make one complete wobble. And so it will point to different stars over that 26,000 years as the North Star. So currently it's Polaris, and Vega was the one 13,000 years ago. And from between Polaris and Vega is the constellation Draco the dragon, and it wraps around the axis between Polaris and Vega. So it is the dragon, and in ancient cultures, it was considered the dragon that guards the world tree. Hercules was sent to kill that dragon at the turning of the ages back when the patriarchy was taking over from the matriarchy. So of course they had to kill the dragon. So, and there's been many, many other stories and myths. We've talked about this before, about how the dragon energy has been basically dismissed from our reality, become more mythical, but the dragon's energy lives within us. we have the ley lines of energy, the meridians in our body. We have the ley lines on the earth, the energy lines on the earth that are called the dragon lines. And the dragon energy is coming back. So I have my dragon pendant that I'm so excited to have to wear for this year. And also got to go to the Gem and Mineral Show on yesterday. And we were specifically looking for dragons. And so we found two dragons. I'll show you one of them. They're identical dragons, but one's a left-hand dragon and one's a right-hand dragon. And they're wood dragons. So so we have these dragons that are coming in to bless us over this year of the dragon, and to just really help us remember to keep connected to the dragon energy. That was something that really, we could say, the patriarchal or the dominator culture was trying to eliminate from our consciousness and awareness. So dragons became the thing to slay, the thing to get rid of, the thing that was scary, that kind of thing. So how can we revolutionize our experience of dragons now, especially at this Aquarius new moon as we enter this year of the dragon? And the wood dragon, and dragons actually from the Chinese perspective are lucky. They bring us good luck. They help us. They're considered to have an intelligent energy. They're able to implement the ideas and the visions that people have, the dragon people, the dragon born in the year of the dragon. And I think the last time we had the year of the dragon, wood dragon, was 1964. So every 12 years, the dragon energy comes along, but the wood dragon, the last time was 1964. It only happens every 60 years that you'll have this element of the dragon come in. So pretty exciting. And then we have Venus and Mars meeting together in Aquarius after the new moon. And it's the masculine and feminine coming back together in a revolutionary kind of way, in a new way, in a avant-garde, cutting edge, revolutionary sort of way. So how does the masculine and feminine come together to support one another instead of trying to slay an aspect? Like, many cultures saw the dragon as more feminine than masculine. So anyway, these are just some thoughts that are occurring to me. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Sarah and see what she has to say.
Thank you, Kaylin. Yeah, absolutely. The dragon energy is, I don't know a whole load about dragons, so it's just really interesting listening to you. But I do really, really feel that this year has, certainly my friends who are like me, like us, and clients and people I kind of hang out with in that sense, all feel that this year has a very magical energy. And what I am noticing, I was talking to a client literally just before I came into this space with you, and we were talking about how many of the ancient trees were leaving, and which on a kind of human level, it's sad. But what we were talking about was that we both felt that there was a wisdom being handed over, and that as we go into these new times, that the baton is literally being passed on. And I feel that the Aquarian energy as well, and it's something I learned about it actually through the shamanic astrology when I first met shamanic astrology quite a few years ago, is that the Aquarian energy is the walker between the veils. You know, it's kind of got 1 foot in one world and 1 foot in the other. And having a lot of Aquarius myself, as a kind of core frequency in working with nature, I can really get that. And I think that maybe that's partly why the dragons, anyway, that would be my take on it, why we can see and feel them more this year or at this time. So this year for me so far has been of an easier energy, let's put it that way, than last year for me. And I've been doing a lot of kind of in my own way, intention setting, not really in a traditional New Year way, but just having a lot of chats with the universe. And, it's like, come on, guys, I need your help, and really opening myself to support. And maybe this is an Aquarian thing. I don't do things like that very easily. I'm left to my own devices. I can do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. And, you carry the whole world on your shoulders. And so I've been really listening this year and looking to be in more co-creation and cooperation. And as part of that, last week, Orange Lily came forward. And she comes forward quite a lot, actually. She's a friend of mine. She comes to visit me quite often when I've forgotten how to receive, basically. And she comes and tells me, you have to ask, like really ask and be really specific about what you want. And then, as the thing goes, let go. So, and I started thinking about the lily family as in the flower essence world, we would see lilies as being a deeply feminine type of being. Anything with a bulb is more connected upwards. They don't have big roots. They're quite lightly tethered to the world. So they're more of a sort of conception vessel in Chinese medicine. So they would really open us up to the support around us. And of course, the flower is just like this beautiful chalice as well. And so I wanted to share something I had done myself, and I felt that it might be useful for others to do as well. So if this resonates with you, and maybe do it at a time when you don't have to be in a bad way or be having a super bad day or anything, but just at a time when you really, really need some support. Just sit down, because you'll be able to more get in touch with the kind of more rawness of the feelings, and just really, what do you want? And what I do with Orange Lily, what she asks me to do, is to write a letter to the divine, to the universe, to the goddess, whatever you want to call it. And I take a piece of blank paper and I just write down, dear, whatever word that I want to use at the time. And I say, this is how I need you to help me. I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And it's okay to be quite 3D about it as well, I have found, because the more specific we get, the easier it becomes to receive those things. But you'll find yourself going into very 5D places when you do this. And then sign it off as if you have received. Many people watching this will know how to do this, and have done it many times. I just find that when we connect with Orange Lily, it then opens the field, because one of her messages is to open to receive. Just literally, I have done so much work over open to receiving, yet I feel like a complete beginner, like real beginner. And so she just comes in and teaches me. She helps me let go of that next tiny piece. Okay, and it's like, so I relax a little bit more into that. And then the next time she comes along, it's like, okay, let's do the next bit now. So after I've written my letter, I fold it twice towards myself, and I just place it on my altar, and I put a crystal on top of it. And whenever I do it, what happens next? I just feel better, and my life gets better. Basically, I relax more, I listen more, I trust more what I'm hearing. And that is part of opening to receive. We tend to, well, I do anyway, I've always thought about it as, oh, well, yeah, it's like huge sums of money come flooding into my bank account. Now that's very nice, but it's so much bigger than that. In order to get to those places nowadays, we have to listen deeply to our intuition. And the nature kingdom actually has zero problems with us having money. Zero problems. They're just like, get on with it. They have no judgment. The fairies are just like, yes. Okay. So we'll show you how to do it. So it's a very human construct, I think, all this stuff we've got going on. So I would encourage anybody who feels aligned, if you wish for deep support of receiving on all levels of all kinds in all the fields, sit down, write a letter, call Orange Lily in, and you will find that she will move into your field and she will support you over the next few days, over the next few weeks, over for as long as you need it. She will be there with you, helping you receive whatever it is you need. So there, I have delivered the message from Orange Lily, and on that I will hand over to you, Nalini.
No, thank you, Sarah, for being our Orange Lily today. And soon to be a solar return for you. So it's very apt timing. Happy birthday.
Yes. Yes, the fairies are joining in. I can hear them.
Yeah, they're singing. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting what both of you have brought up and have said. I very recently just had another chart done. I haven't looked at the reading because it just came into my inbox right before this, by a galactic astrologer. I'm always looking at different angles of things, and so it's interesting to see these. And there was a bit of confusion in having the chart done because the software that most of us use was coming up with the chart I have mostly used, and so has everybody else. And the galactic reading chart was coming up with something else, which is due to a technical thing about the year that Kayla and I were both born, and how where is there daylight savings time, summertime, and where isn't there? And apparently there's some controversy about the reading. And so the funny thing that bears on our discussion today is that rather than having a Pisces rising in that chart, I have Aquarius rising. And Kaylin will know, based on conversations, how funny that is to me, because my life has been filled with Aquarians, and it's been a challenge. And so, not in a bad way necessarily, just interesting. And so now I just in looking at the very little that I know about the rising signs and the houses, I'm such a beginner in this. It made a lot of sense. The few things that I read, I'm like, okay. It's not that I haven't looked at alternative versions of that information before. When I first started my study of astrology, I had both a Western and a Vedic astrologer as teachers. And so it was already working with two different versions of things. This came on a day, it's what sources messages, right? Like the fairies singing. When I had just completed a project for last year, a book just got published, and I'm asking source, as we do, I'm saying, well, all right, let me sit with the intention setting process and what wants to come through. And what had been coming through from the solstice and into January, because we're in all of this shifting of energy, this turbulence of what everything always comes out of, which is chaos. And I'm sitting with it, and I said, well, okay. And the phrase that kept coming in, the soundbite, was new embodiment, new embodiment. And on the heels of that came this question from a galactic astrologer, which was, you've had lots of charts done, right? Because I'm getting two different types of information and I don't understand. And I got the new one and I'm like, oh, well, see, new embodiment. There you go. A new lens of perception on it. I mean, the planets are where they are, the signs are where they are, but it changes things. And so I was sort of walking around the house that day in a semi gobsmack saying, I have a new rising sign, potentially. Weird, and that feeling is what so many of us are going through right now. It's what beings like the Orange Lily and the Aquarian energies can help us with. We're in this emergence from a new, which is ancient, field of chaos of, well, here's a new birth, and how is that going to show up? And we don't know, but nature works this way, always has, always will. And the ley lines, the meridians, the electromagnetic flows, those morphogenetic fields that we call dragons, have always guarded the gates. It's what those energies do. And so dragons have been friends of mine in one form or another. Do I think they are actually physical beings? Well, not necessarily. Do I think they are absolutely not physical beings in this world? No, not necessarily. I've experienced them, but it's the same energy from nature and from the stars, because they're all the same field, and all of it is in this cauldron of chaos right now, from which bits of us are emerging: stars, flowers, fruit, different beings that we are not amalgamating necessarily, although that's happening, but integrating and being infused into and by for this new emergence. Whatever we decide to call it, new earth, new paradigm, new whatever. Is there anything really new in the infinite universe? I don't know. But this emergence that's coming is something that we have not experienced yet in this incarnation, in this lifetime. And it is such a privilege to be incarnate on this planet at this time. We have this amazing little period of time coming up right now where Imbolc, I believe, astrologically, as the cross-quarter, forms on the 3rd or 4th, depending on where you are in the world. And then the new moon is on, is on the 9th or 10th, and that's Lunar New Year. And so there's what we call a week, like a precious strand of time in between these two openings. And are they different? Are they the same? I find that this is a passage. We're being led into and through the embodiment of this passage. It could be a birth canal. We could think of it however we want to, but this is a passage of absolute metamorphosis, of that level of change where we will not be the same. And from there, the rest of this year extrapolates and expands and explodes. And it may do some of those things. All of the astrology is lined up for it. But look at all of nature as well. It's like, does a flower get upset when it has just expanded into its glory and then wilts? Does it get upset? Or is there a new form that's being birthed? Is there a piece of fruit that is just ripe and ready to drop from the tree because it wasn't right to go grab it and try and yank it off the branch yet? Is it upset if it falls to the ground and goes to seed? No, because there are things being birthed here. This is a year for the star streaming parts of us, the sand paintings, the sand castles that get washed away by the next wave. These parts of us are coming to the fore, and to be acknowledged and accepted and nurtured and nourished and cherished. And it is this wave of energy. It's a wall of energy, like a tsunami, coming through this year that will begin now in February, that best to simply go with it. Not sure we have a choice. And see the experience, have the experience of being part of that wave, less of the defined particles and more of what are the currents, what are the ripples, what are the rivulets, what are the tides in this wave, and see where it goes. We are so supported in this. We have Gaia, the earth, as our ally in this, and holding and supporting and cherishing our bodies. And if this is what's meant by divine feminine energy and all of that coming into wholeness, why not celebrate the wave of wholeness that's coming through, and maybe come up with some new terminology that isn't quite so polarized, because the infinite is not, and just letting that come through. So will we celebrate the dragon energies? We will become them. We already are. And when we celebrate the energies of nature, we are that. And the more we remember that, the more supported we are on this world. Gaia is an immaculate hostess. And so are all of the energies that feed through her, and all of the energies that are coming in from our stellar neighbors. It is all in support of this transition. That's more than my little human mind can handle. It's just sort of, okay, gobsmack, blown. How is this even possible to be this pixel at this time? But we're moving through it, and we will have that experience. So I think it's a wonderful time to be here on this planet and to be moving through this year. So thank you for that.
Yay. Oh my gosh, so good. And so I just thank you for both of you for your brilliance and what you shared here today. And just to remind everybody, there will be some links in the show notes that you might want to check out. So be sure to do that. And it'll be really fun to see where we're at when we come into when we come to do our next video. It's coming up shortly. And I just love how it's all been framed in the practices and so on. So hopefully this has been helpful to everyone. Thank you. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.